Over the years, I asked the question, how do you clean a fiber optic connection? For me, over the years began in 1999-2000, when a distributor salesman and I made a joint call on a fiber optic production company. As the years went on, as I would attend garage meetings, standards meetings, trade shows, I'd ask the same question. How do you clean a fiber optic connection? And there would be three results. Some would be trained to clean the end face, transmission surfaces. Others would talk about prepping before fusion splice. And others would talk about maintaining the fusion splicer and general equipment maintenance. IEC defines the end face as seen in the center there. I call that a primary surface. Without IEC 61300 3.35, circa 1998-1999, and the IEC TR 62627, we would have no standards. So these are important guidelines. However, as you see from the images captured on the RMS-1 Mark II, there's more to the connector than just a limited surface area, which I term as a primary surface. The rest of it are secondary surfaces. The total horizontal end face, I term that as zone 4. The vertical ferrule, the insides of the adapter, the alignment sleeve, connector shell, inner surfaces as seen on an MT type, where you have debris in the alignment port and the inner surface debris right under the fibers. The adapters, the alignment sleeves, the inner surfaces are all critical parts of the connector. I believe in 100% inspection. After all, I invented the microscope. However, 100% inspection is not always probable simply because not all technicians have the money to buy a videoscope. That's why I developed a cleaning process. The other reason why 100% inspection isn't likely is we are not seeing the remaining connector surfaces. We are not seeing the parts that can be contaminated, cross-contaminate debris, one surface to the other. Existing inspection only views unlimited two-dimensional structure. Of course, we exist in 3 dimensions. We haven't done ourselves any favors over the years. Over the years, in the early times, there were 2 cleaning processes, a dry process and a wet process. The dry process continues. However, what we've learned from the dry process is that, first of all, dry cleaning is only effective when we're mopping something that may be a fluid. Dry cleaning on a dry debris on a dry surface only moves, transfers the soils. And as we've learned, dry cleaning can create a tribocharge that actually creates more static. Wet cleaning floods the surface. In the early years, we would talk about wet cleaning with an isopropyl alcohol pad. We draw the pad over the end face, and what that revealed was that fluid was forced down into the zone 5 vertical ferrule and then would reemerge in the time of post-cleaning and post-inspection. These studies are posted on my website. I'd be happy to share them with you at any time. What evolved in the day I was involved in FTTX to this time is the phrase wet to dry cleaning. It was actually a phrase from a process that was developed at Chemtronics, which was called combination cleaning. What was recognized is that existing standards are based on relatively easy to move debris. What was studied in those times was combinations of debris. Arizona test dust and maybe Jergens lotion. Arizona test dust and different oils. Arizona test dust and maybe metal shards. In fact, it was Cisco in those days, 2005 to 2006, that introduced what was called the Cisco series. Google the Cisco series. Those were 10, maybe 11 types of debris that were really tough ones to remove, such as dried isopropyl alcohol, such as dried solvent that maybe only partially removed the debris and then left a residual contamination that was more difficult to remove than the original one. In these times, I propose an open architecture procedure that I call solvent transfer. And what this simply means is that each tool, probes, reel cleaners, cleaning platforms, swabs, every tool is lightly moistened in a very specific way as a solvent transfer process. That's where the wet to dry comes from, a specific process per each tool. Remember, end face cleaning isn't equipment cleaning. What we know is that most crafts will take a shot and clean the connector in some way. Unfortunately, some way isn't good enough. I urge that you uptrain and eliminate dry cleaning. Rather than move from dry cleaning to maybe you're going to call it wet to dry cleaning, and then try to clean it that way, start at the worst case. Start with the best products, the best, most universal solvents, lightly moisten them in the solvent transfer process. Remember, dry cleaning only works on something that's a fluidic debris. Wet to dry cleaning has evolved into a really vague and almost useless instruction. Select cleaning tools in an application-specific manner. My name's Ed Forrest. This is actually the third time around that I've been involved in cleaning critical surfaces. If you have questions or comments, certainly I look forward to your challenge.